Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Jose Clautier. I have the pleasure of introducing to you Mr. Santiago Lopez from Créame. This is a business incubator in Colombia, and today he will be sharing with us his knowledge on how to create an elevator pitch. Before we begin, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the rules of the game. We will have Mr. Lopez do his presentation. While he does his presentation, you can write down the questions you want to ask him in the questions tab that you will find in the control panel. Otherwise, towards the end of the webinar, we will have a couple of minutes for a Q&A. That's the time when I will read those questions to Mr. Lopez, and he can answer them to you directly. So don't wait until the end to make your questions. You can definitely start typing down those questions as the presentation is happening. Also, when we are in that Q&A section, you will be able to make your questions through the microphone if that is something that you prefer. Just push the raise hand button, and I will unmute your microphone. Other than that, just feel free to type down your questions as the presentation goes. Also, before we begin the presentation, I wanted to give a little brief bio of Mr. Santiago Lopez. He's an international negotiator with masters in financial administration. He has experience with financial modeling, cash flow, treasury, foreign trade, financial and administrative management, and capital raising. He has skills in problem resolution. He's driven creation of corporate processes, goals, and leadership. He aids entrepreneurs as a financial and investment consultant, preparing entrepreneurs with their pitch focused to angel investors and funds for equity raising. So this is the perfect speaker, the best speaker we can have on this topic. So I will very much like to also invite you to check out our different social media. Of course, we got the Facebook page, we got the Twitter and the Instagram pages, and you can always check out the website for the Talent and Innovation Competition of the Americas, ticamericas.net. Of course, the Eco Challenge, which is ticamericas.net/eco-challenge, and also for the Caribbean Innovation Competition, you can go to let me just check that website for you real quick. I don't want to give you a different one. For the Caribbean Innovation Competition, it will be the website reachcompetition.net. So that switches a little bit, but the website for the Caribbean Innovation Competition is reachcompetition.net. So feel free to add us on all those social media pages, and also congratulations to those that are reaching the finals of the competition. We will see you in Cancun. We're very excited for it. And without further ado, Santiago, I will go over and share your screen so we can start the presentation. Thank you so much for being with us today. And whenever you're ready, go ahead. We are already seeing your screen, and I have unmuted your microphone. Go ahead.
Okay, you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, yes, perfect.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for the introduction. Yeah, my name is Santiago Lopez, and I'm a financial consultant here at Créame Incubadora de Empresas. This is an institution that's located in Medellin, Colombia. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. Créame has been around for 20 years now. It's been like the pioneer in entrepreneur consultancy and helping all these startups to really grab some traction in the market and be able to get those products and get it validated in the market and help them with a lot of theoretical and a lot of practical different types of activities. So Créame has different types of programs, and all of them, there's one called the Accelerator Program. It's called Aceleración Empresarial. That's where I'm in. That's the consultancy I drive, because here we have the companies that are in the in the stage of being accelerated, and these are the companies that really do focus on grabbing some equity growth from the market. So what I do, besides doing all the modeling and all the consultancy of financial, we prepare them for the pitch. You know, we take them to a platform where we have angel investors and a bunch of funds, and we prepare their pitch so they can really put their idea outside, you know, put the company outside and really grab some interest from the investors and grab some equity, you know, just to accelerate it. So yeah, I've been around here for almost 2 years now, helping out Créame in the consultancy aspect. And well, the accelerator program has been around for more than 5 years. We also have here in Créame, thanks to all of this traction we've got gathered here in Colombia, we do the net meets and the networking spaces where we do some activities of putting all this entrepreneurs and startups. We are a consultancy, doing the consultancy, and we make them compete in the pitch of the net meet, where they can win some pretty awesome prizes on really strategic relationships or some equity growth too, and you know, and just putting them out too in this spaces and sceneries that we do each 2 months. So yeah, let's get started. So yeah, the ability to express an idea is as important as the idea itself. So in the pitch, it's not only about the information that you're telling your audience, and it's not only about focusing on the audience, it's also about the moderator, or the person that's really taking the pitch outside, the person that's talking in the pitch to the audience. That person has to have the ability to express what they're trying to really say, and that's pretty much the basis of all the pitch, because you can really put a pitch outside in the market or to the audience and really not believe in it, and you know, that's gonna be felt. So yeah, you gotta really have those communicational ideas and those technical parts around what we're going to see today. So what's an elevator pitch? So an elevator pitch is a concise, practiced overview of a business idea or a business model, reached in a simple and a memorable way to the audience. It's said that the elevator pitch goes around back to the 1980s, in the golden age of the Hollywood movies. All the scripters and all these people that wanted to grab some time around their TV producers really knew, and it's an urban myth, you know, it's an urban legend that they really quantify the time it took these guys to grab their elevator up to their offices, and they calculated between 60 to 90 seconds where they could just grab all the attention, grabbing an idea, and before the 90 seconds end, they're getting a deal or at least a follow-up meeting with these producers. And it's also said, or it's also an urban legend, that people really shifted from the golden age of the movies to back to the oldest last decade of the tech industry that's blowing up, where they really wanted on Silicon Valley just grab the attention of Steve Jobs. So it really grabbed a lot of traction what a pitch is, and how to take it outside to someone that you want to really grab the interest. The word elevator just stuck with the pitch word for, well, the last decades, and basically it's already known as the elevator pitch, and we already know what we're talking about. So I want to give you a little bit a small video right now about this is the UK biggest marketing of telecommunication, AMV Group. This woman's gonna tell you a really concise way of what a pitch really needs around the creation.
If you've got an idea for your business, sooner or later you're going to have to pitch it to someone. I'm Alison Chadwick, and I'm Talent Director for the AMV Group.
Sorry about that.
Which is the UK's largest marketing communications group. And as part of my role, I coach people in how to pitch effectively. And no matter who you're pitching your idea to, you need to be able to do it in a way that's simple, memorable, and convincing. And that's where the elevator pitch comes in. An elevator pitch is a concise, practiced overview of your business idea, put in a way that is simple and memorable for the listener to understand. It's called an elevator pitch because the decision maker may only give you the time that it would take to get from the reception to the executive floor to pitch your idea to them, so you've got to get it out fast. So what makes a great elevator pitch? Well, probably the first and most important thing to remember is that this isn't a chance to say all the things you think are great about your product in a very short time. That's guaranteed to confuse, overwhelm, maybe even annoy the listener. What this is about is it's a chance to say the few most important things that are most likely to make the listener want to hear more, to make them see why your product, your business idea, your service, why you are worth investing in. And to do that, you need to do two key things. The first thing that you need to talk about is, why is your product or idea needed? What is the problem that exists, and for who, that your product is there to solve? A couple of sentences just highlighting that problem and highlighting it in terms of the benefits and the results that your product will bring to solve it will ignite the interest of the listener in the potential value of your idea. The second thing you need to talk about is, what is your unique selling proposition? In other words, what is it that your product or idea uniquely brings to the problem you've identified? This isn't about a long list of product features, as exciting as they may be. This is about the one or at most two key features that will particularly impact on the problem. It may be a unique innovation, it may be a personal credential of yours, but keep it simple and keep it short and keep it focused. If you can clearly express these two things, the problem and what your product or idea brings to the problem, in a way that your grandmother or your kids could understand, then you have the essence of your pitch. If you can't, then you may want to think again about the strength of your idea. Finally, if you want to make your elevator pitch as good as it can be, there are a few ground rules to remember. The first is, keep it short. It's the ultimate example of less is more. The more you'll tell them, the less they'll remember. 30 seconds to 2 minutes should be the time span that you're thinking about. The second one is, don't blind them with science. Your jargon and technical details are very familiar to you, but not to the listener, and you can quickly overwhelm or even bore them. The third ground rule would be, balance humility with hype. If you don't believe in the value of what you're selling, how can you expect anyone else to? So don't hide your enthusiasm, be yourself, and be proud of your credentials. Having said that, no one loves a show-off, so try not to overpromise or overclaim in your desire to pitch persuasively. My final tip would be practice. Practice it out loud, practice it in writing, practice it until you can do it in your sleep, and check it with friends, the kinds of friends who aren't afraid to give you feedback. If you do all these things, you stand the best chance of making your elevator pitch concise and compelling, and making your business idea really stand out from the crowd.
So yeah, as you can see, she just told us how they do it, how they prep their people when they're going to train them for the pitch that they're going to use. We use that clip because our structure and what we're going to tell about you later, it's very, very on point on it. But like I told you before, we do some net me's here, and those net me's have a specific structure because it takes over 2 to 5 minutes. So yeah, an elevator pitch is a presentation about a business, a company, or an idea to a potential investor or a buyer. You really got to understand which is your audience and who are you directing the pitch to. It must be direct, it must be concrete, and it has to convey passion. If you don't believe on what you're saying, no one's gonna believe it. You know, you gotta understand what you're saying and what passion you're putting on the pitch for it to really, really stand out outside and really make you memorable after what you, all the ideas that you're putting all outside. And it's all done in a very short time span. So the goal is to capture enough interest and intrigue to lead to an opportunity to do a full pitch of your idea. The interest and the intrigue have to be from out of the gates. Once you start doing the pitch, you have to do it in a methodical way that I'm going to talk about it, how to grab that attention from the audience that you really need to. So there are pillars of communication. You gotta connect to your audience. You gotta understand that the audience that's outside, how you're going to make them connect. We had an entrepreneur here that presented on the NetMe last month. He had this robotic hand that it was based for people that really didn't have the opportunity of some extremities or had an accident and lost some extremities. So he started out connecting the people to that feeling with phrases basically around the time of how easy it is for all of us to brush our teeth every morning, and we really don't understand how difficult that action is for some people. And he starts to connect to the audience with those phrases, and then he just draw the attention and maintains it. When he puts out the image of someone that really doesn't have one of the articulations of what he's talking about, and then he puts out the robotic hand, he grabs the attention of all the audience and just makes it so impact and so emotionally driven that people just remember that and will make you memorable. And not only because of what you're saying and what you're bringing, but it's the real solution because we're pitching a company. So that will make you memorable. So how is it done? How do you do a good pitch? You know, we here in Créame, we use this structure. We have to plan it, we have to structure it, we have to design it and to present it. The plan has to be all around of where are we going, what is the scenery we're going to be pitching around, and what audiences are we expecting to have in that place. The structure goes all around of what and all the information we have to do and how is the creation of the pitch and the information that we're going to put out in all of our premises that we're going to bring to the table. The design goes around the structure of how the presentation and all the digital media and all the things that you're going to use in the pitch. I want to open a big parenthesis here. Here in Colombia, here in Créame, we don't use pitch with videos. We only use images, and we don't use animations. We don't use those things because those things will take so much time off the pitch and out of the presentation and would really not make the audience put attention to you, but put attention to the animations, and will just make them just unclip from what you're trying to make them clip on. So the design has to be fresh, has to be easy, has to be very not overwhelming for your eyes, and has to be really focused on what you of the premises and the information that you want to put outside. And the last but not least, practice, practice, and practice. You have to practice your pitch a lot. Just practice it against the mirror, practice it with your family. Just you have to do the pitch a lot of times to learn all those communication abilities that you probably still have dormant, and you have to put them outside to really grab and present and expose all this information in a very clipping and hooking everyone up on what you're trying to say. So what's the plan? When you want to plan, you got to really know your audience. If you're going to the NetMe, for example, here in Colombia, the NetMe has an audience of public. That would be the possibility of new clients, new customers, new everything around what the market gives you. But there's also the audience of, it's the NetMe, you know, we do it as judges. We'll really evaluate who has the best pitch and who brings the better value to the market, just to really give them the best prize, because all of them really win actually. So knowing that audience and knowing who's going to be there is going to be one of the basic variables around what you're going to do when you start to create a pitch, because you can have all kinds of pitch for all kinds of time spans and all types of audiences. So you really got to understand your audience before you start constructing a pitch that's going to really impact the audience you want. Define the goal. Why are you doing the pitch? Are you going to do it commercially? Are you going to do it for investing? What's the goal for the pitch? Are you going to put yourself out? Because sometimes you just want to do a pitch. You really are not looking for any joint ventures. You're not looking for equity growth. You're not looking for angel investors. You're not looking for anything. You just want to, you really don't have a focus on what to do the pitch, but the pitch always has an objective. It always stands out what the company is, and it always stands out what the products are. Have that main idea around your head. What's the goal we're going to get, and what's the idea where we're going to get it? Because that main idea is what's going to derive all the relevant concepts around what you're going to present. For example, if you're going into an investing type of pitch, there are some relevant concepts around equity growth and what you're going to achieve when you talk technically. For example, you were talking about EBITDA, or you're going to talk about what's the stake around the shareholders you're going to give them. If you're going to make it in a commercial way, you know, you got to understand what it's the market, what sector you're on. And those concepts are the key to really just converge what the main idea and the concepts really are, to make those all around in a very dynamic way. And then you're talking about the same things and not making everyone just lose the attention of what you're trying really to focus on. After you have all that clear, you have that plan, you prepare the pitch. You prepare that elevator pitch around those ideas, that main goal, and to that focused audience, and really, really just write down the message you really want to leave them. Write down your pitch. What's the message you want all the audience to really take at the end of your pitch? The structure. This is practically the body of it all. This is basically the structure we use here in Créame for absolutely each and every type of pitch, because it really grabs each and every variable that we really want around doing the pitch. It doesn't matter if it's commercial or if it's for investing. We just have to shift a couple of variables around. So first of all, in the structure, the problem or the opportunity, because it's not always, you're not always creating a company, or you're not always doing in a startup to solve a problem. Sometimes you just saw an opportunity. So you really got to understand what the problem or the opportunity is, so that you can bring it to the audience in a very memorable way. For example, we had on Anedmi like 2 months ago, we had this company called Mercado de Bodas. That translates to marriage market. I don't know if it's, but yeah, it translates to that. So Mercado de Bodas is a company that focus the problem on it starts like this, you know, they focus the attention on each and every woman in the world has dreamed of their perfect wedding. And when she starts to say that, she shows the problem that it's really what stands out of the situation. And it's each and every woman really wants to get married in a very fashioned and very I don't know, king type of marriage, you know, where the Prince Charming is gonna come. And guess what? Then she brings the next slide where she says, in reality, this is so costly that a lot of people really don't get the opportunity to have a very good wedding or a very beautiful wedding. So that's the problem she's addressing. She brings all to this market all this type of products that really attack the cheap side of the market, and she even uses some type of loan system around that model. It's pretty crazy, but how she achieves the attention of the audience, just reminding them how all your life you were dreaming about it, and all the guys that are going to get married someday also know that there's a big opportunity, a big probability that our partner has sometimes dreamed of it. So it really focuses on both type of segments and markets right there. So that's the problem that they're addressing, and they have it very clear why there is the situation. So along comes the value proposition. So after she brings up the situation of the problem or the opportunity you can have, you bring the proposition of value you're going to bring into that market. The proposition is very clear. She has cheap types of products that will adhere all the type of things that a wedding really needs, and whatever is very costly, she doesn't sell it, she can loan it for a very small amount of price. So that's the proposition she's bringing to the market. She first grabs the audience with the problem. She first makes them feel the pain around the proposition of the problem, and everyone is like, oh yeah, that's going to happen, and that this is the solution. So around the structure number 2 comes that proposition, and you have to be very clear what's the value proposition you bring into the market. You got to understand really what's the solution you're going to bring to the market. And remember this, the problem, if you're doing I'm going to use the example of our NetMe, it's a 5-minute pitch. So the problem really takes time for they to structure around 40 seconds. You can really thin that up as much as you can, depending on what type of pitch you're going to do. The value proposition is also the same thing. It takes about 40 seconds for a 5-minute pitch, where the value proposition doesn't focus on technicality, doesn't focus on how you procedure or how you produce this type of elements in your company. It's not about that. It's about, this is the problem that we're adhering it like this, we're attacking it from this ways, and we're doing it this way, and we propose this thing. And after that, there's always going to be a competitive advantage. It's not about talking about your competitors. You're not going to market your competitors in your pitch. It's not about that. Never talk about any of your competitors, but obviously there's competition. Do you know it? So my competitive advantage is I'm looking at the market. The market has X and Y type of products. Our competitive advantage goes around innovation, goes around cost-effective producing, goes around technical platform, you know, competitive advantages that really make your company stand out and make your product stand out, that can really people just grab and say, okay, everyone does this, but wait a second, this guy has something pretty interesting around the value proposition, and it also has a competitive advantage. So never forget which competitive advantage you have before you do the pitch and before you start to structure. And if you don't know it, go inside your company and know what you're doing correctly. What's the best thing you're doing around the company that really adds value to the market, and that will really give this I don't know, this fresh type of interpretation of your company to the market. Fourth, in the structure, after we adhere the problem, we adhere the proposition, we adhere the competitive advantage, we have to talk about the market value. This is the market size. It's very important, independently if it's for an investment or if it's for commercial value or for marketing. You really got to understand what you're attacking, you know, because markets have X and Y sizes of cash or income made in a year. You got to really understand what, if your market's really profitable and you're going to be able to validate it in the market, if it's their demand around the market. So doing the market analysis and the market value, just finding what the sector you're moving on moves around, what the industry you're moving really has the value on. You really got to know that information and just point it out very, very fast. You know, the market, I don't know, I'm focused on textiles, you know, I'm doing clothing. So the market I'm attacking has this income at the year, we're doing this income, and that's going to really converge with the fifth point, that it's the sales. So in the sales, we don't focus on how much we're doing monthly or what are the lines we're selling or what are the products. No, we focus on, okay, when we started, we made this, this was our income, we have this income today, and do the projection or the expected growth, and we want on 2020 or 2021 or 2019 or 2025, we are going to be selling this. Never say ambiguous things. Never say, I hope we are, never hope, never expect. You have to be certain. Those are the key type of words that will make your pitch very, how do you say it, very, for people to really believe in it and just make you really memorable around it and really know that the person that's doing the pitch knows the business and knows what he's talking about. So the expected growth has to be key information. It doesn't matter if you're not going to, you know, it's just projections. It could be subjective, and obviously don't oversize it. You're not going to be an Apple or a Microsoft from day one to day two, you know. You gotta be focused, and that's why it's so important to really do the comparison with the market value. All I'm saying around this, it has to be very easy. Problem is one slide, value proposition is another slide, competitive advantage is another slide with 2 or 3 words. We do this better. Market value, you know, that would be a chart. It could be a chart around how the industry is moving and how much income it was generated. Big parenthesis here. The market value I recommend, and that's why I repeat a lot, the audience. Remember the audience. You gotta really understand where are you going, to whom you're talking to, because the market value could vary depending on the country. This year at January, February, we had the forum called Excala. You know, it's an international forum. We had a bunch of opponents here that were talking about their companies, and we also did an event where 4 Latin American startups were going to compete between them for the best of them all. And there was this company that had this awesome idea, and when he got to the slide of market value and sales projection, he did the comparison because he was originally from Ecuador. So he came to Colombia and he adhered how the market value, how the sales were in comparison to our market, because he was presented in our market. So never forget about that. 6, it's very important, there's always a requirement. So as I said before, if you don't really need equity growth or you don't really want to do a joint venture or find a customer, you at least want to put yourself outside and make everyone notice you. So the requirement and the most important thing around this is understand what you're doing or why you're doing the pitch for, what you need from the audience. The requirement goes around, if you need the audience to really know you, remember how you're going to bring all the pitch for them to remember you and be memorable. If you really need an investor around, remember that the sales and projections are pretty important. Here in the requirement is where you're going to talk about the stakes and how much money you need and for what. I need $50,000 for our next step to make 5 times EBITDA for you, that at 20% stake, things like that. So that's why it's important to understand the concepts of the pitch you're going to do. If you're doing a commercial one, just remember, you know, we are opening this, and this points of sales. Remember, we are in this places you can buy on online. We have this web page, and we need and all of these things. We have the buying cart and all. And last but not least, the work team. It's very important in the pitch, not only the person that is doing the pitch, but the entrepreneur that has a company behind it. And the pitch is going to show the audience if you really, really know what you're talking about. The work team is very important, especially for equity growth. Investors look at the team, look who's behind the idea, and do they have anything to work with. Work team is basically a slide where you introduce all your teammates, but remember not to show off with it, you know, just this is our general manager, and always talk something about them, but always also based on the company. You could practically have an engineer that it's in your company working as a salesperson. So you're not going to say he has a master's degree in engineering because it doesn't have anything to do with what he's doing in the company. So that's very important. Work team focused on the experience and what they're doing inside the company. If what they're doing inside the company has to do with what they study, there's a good reason now to just leverage that premise and just leverage that opinion, saying, and he's also an engineer or has a master's degree in engineering, he's our producer, you know. So that's the structure, basic and very important, of how you do it. We normally do it in this order because we're attacking everything in a very specific way, and how we've been using it all around and analyzing each and every type of different training courses of pitch. They normally use this type of structure. Remember, pitches can be all type of time spans. So you can reduce and thin it up, or just expand it and make it very complete, like a 5-minute pitch, like we do it here in NetMe. So the structure, remember, in the structure you have to basically tell everything in a storyline type of fashion. Don't go into very big details that have nothing to do with what you're trying to achieve from the audience, but add that passion. You really have to add the passion to the pitch to create that emotional response. So you have to create that attitude around what you're trying to say, and do you really believe in your product, and do you really believe in your company? Because that's basically 50% of the passion that you're going to expose. And then the rest of the passion comes around, just prepare your new attitudes, just create those new attitudes of communication. Steve Jobs is one of the persons that's really remembered by doing this insane types of commentary, and he does presentations very good, even pitch. And that guy used to practice a lot, just transforming how he's saying things, why he says it, and what attitude to do and to use in each and every premise. It's very important to have that in the back of your mind. You can create new interactive experiences, but remember, no videos, because that will really lead people to just not look at you or not remember you. They will end up remembering the video, you know. So that's like one of the things that's very important to have an account. And finally, just build that emotion with the user. What are you giving in the pitch that's gonna make people say, yeah, you know, that's true, and they really just connect with you and just make that emotional bond. They will never forget you. In the telling the story, there are some elements that are very important in this part of the story, and they're characters. Key characters are important. We have an entrepreneur here that their pitch was very focused on they were selling sentiments or emotions around some sweet biscuits or some sweet type of candy. The character around it was a person that had this life, and it was so important, the story behind it, because based on what happened in the past of that character, that it's also one of the shareholders of the company, was the reason why it was created, the emotional part of the company. And at the end of the day, today, they have been growing like 200 to 300% a year. Their pitch is awesome, and they really, really sell emotions. So how do you believe your product and the character that's behind the emotion around what you're pitching? The audience have to understand that and have to understand why you're talking about those characters. So the audience, clients, do you know who they are and what motivates them? The main objective is to create enough interest to lead to another meeting where you will provide a deeper analysis of the idea business. However, after that, we also want investment or capital. Remember the client. That client is your audience. And what's the main objective? The plan. Never forget the initial part of the plan. And try to understand which audience are you going to go into. Because if you have it very clear, I'm pretty sure you're going to have the pitch on point. It doesn't matter if the pitch you're going to present is going to be to investors, and there's some people that are not investors. The pitch is going for the investors. The rest of the pitch will be understood by the rest of the people, because that's your objective. Basically, I don't know if you guys have watched Dragon's Den or Shark Tank. That's the focus on. They focus on just equity growth. It doesn't matter what type of pitch they're doing. They always end up wanting money for what they're going to do. So their pitch also has the premise of what they're going to do with the money. So you got to understand the audience on where you're going, so you have the correct pitch around it. Some tips for the audience. As I said before, make them feel the pain. If you make them feel the pain around your product, they're going to love your product because they're going to feel it. They're not going to hear it, but feel it too. So that will get them to trust the solution. If they feel the pain, they will trust the solution. Make them trust that solution. Make the pitch focused on how you're going to solve what pain you're causing. Show them why you can do it better than anyone. That's a competitive advantage. That could be a competitive advantage. What do you do better than your competition, if there's any? Make it clear that you understand the risk to investor if the focus is on investor. Obviously, if it's a tech company, the volatile around tech companies being validated in the market could be pretty big. So understand what's the risk you're going to give the investor. It's not about giving 50% of the stake and my company's worth $100,000 and I need $500,000. You're giving all the risk to an investor. He's going to just cancel you right out of the gates. So you got to understand what risk you're giving and why you're giving it. Do not talk only about money in the elevator pitch. You can talk about money later in time when you just do the follow-up meeting. Money will only be talked about in how sales are going, and if you have the requirement for the investment, what stake are you going to give him for how much money? That's it. You don't need to talk about anything else. No discounts. No new points and how much is going to cost the new points. The new process. No, you don't have to talk about that. It's just about the pitch and how the product is going to go there, the requirement, and the money will come later. So the structure basically goes on a 30% introduction and conclusion, where the introduction goes for personal introduction, the title, the main problem, and the scope. The body is 70% of the pitch. That's where you explain and develop. You can use graphic layouts and you can use images, like I said before. Make it fresh, make it easy. Don't use media that's going to overwhelm everybody and it's going to overwhelm their view. And the basic conclusion, summary, conclusions, call to action, and if you have the time, Q&As. Possible closings at the end of any pitch. Repeat the main points. Emphasize on the most important ones. If you need the requirement, just remember why you're using the requirement. Where are you going to be in the next year? And why you need it right now and why it's so important. Tell a story based on personal experience or anecdote. Don't use other stories. Don't use other people's anecdotes. It has to be yours because it's going to make the audience really clip on you. And evoke emotional response. That's basic. If you have the emotion, be enthusiastic, not over show off, but be enthusiastic. The emotional response will come very naturally when you're doing the presentation. Remember the design. A picture is worth 1,000 words. An image does the following. It anchors ideas. It makes a concept memorable, awakens the imagination, leaves space for interpretation, and involves the audience. So it's very important to have, if you have the opportunity to do the pitch with a presentation, do it with images. No animations and no videos, like I said before. And I recommend PowerPoint. I know there's a lot of softwares around where you can use to do all types of insane presentations, but when you go into the pitch and the computer, you don't know where you're going to be, which computer is going to use, what type of software it has. PowerPoint is the most universal one, okay? And there's the summary of the structure, the problem, the solution, what's the business model, and how you're making income, a competitive advantage, a market size, the sales, what requirements you need, and the team. Those are basically let's see, 8 slides. That's 8 slides to really present the company. It doesn't have to be limited on 8, but that's how it is. Another thing, one big parenthesis also, I mean, if you have a company that is still not selling, it doesn't matter. The pitch can be focused on what problem you're going to adhere, what solution is going to be made. Remember, we hope to, I think so. No, you don't say those words. You say, we are going to solve this thing this way. How's the business model? Very fast. We do this, and we make income like this. Competitive advantage, market size, and all has always have to be something that you analyze and have to be very clear and that you really believe in it. Some tips. Remember to sell. The pitch is to sell. You're selling something. If you're selling equity, you're selling the company. If you're selling commercially, you're selling the product. So focus the pitch on what you're selling. Keep it short. Use close premises. Don't overwhelm the people with information. Make them connect and inspire people. Inspire them around the pitch. The presentation has to have some skills of communication. That's why you have to practice, practice, and practice. Nonverbal communication is very important. How you move around the stage, how you make them look at you. This entrepreneur with the robotic hand, he pulled it out in the middle of the pitch, and he just puts it into function while he's talking, and everyone goes in the awe moment. Closing capacity, how you make them to remember everything you just said and grab the contact information. Questions, if they're going to be answered. How is the management of critical situations that could happen? What happens if the volume goes down? What happens if the lights go out? You never know, but you have to keep going with your pitch. Management of critical situations. And continuity and networking. Never finish a pitch and leave. Always hope and expect that someone's going to come to you, talk to you, and give them their contact information, and continue with them and see what else business, investing, or whatever is going to happen in the future keeps going. The presentation has to introduce the topic with the phrase, convey passion for the product. Remember, that has to be around the product or the company. Try to eliminate all the noises on all your slides. Avoid bulleted lists, just keep it fresh. Do not include text. Provide outline of everything you just said. Present a single theme. Don't change colors all around your presentation. The design has to be really, really, really specific and really, really easy to replicate. Use metaphors for tangible data. Maybe if you're very new and you have a very innovative product, you gotta really remember how to use metaphor around the sector or the industry in the country you're attacking, because WhatsApp or, for example, Facebook or those type of things are already market validated, and you could use metaphor for tangible data if it's accounting. Rehearse, practice, and practice. I'm going to show you 2 videos. It's 1 minute long. They come from the University of Dayton. They do a business plan competition on elevator pitch, and they give $1,500 for the first person that is going to win the pitch. And it's very important because these pitches are 1 minute long, and I want you guys to know how important it is and how it doesn't matter the time span. You just got to really understand how to structure it. Okay, check it out.
Two-thirds of adults think that traveling.
Sorry about that.
Can be a fun way to. Two-thirds of adults think that traveling would be a fun way to make friends, yet no major travel provider addresses the social aspect of travel. Not Orbitz, not Expedia, not Travelocity. Travel Blender does. It's like a Match.com for friends. Register online for free, tell us about yourself, your ideal travel partners, and where you want to go. Then our unique matching software generates the perfect blend of travel partners, and our travel experts create an unforgettable custom trip. Our revenue comes from commissions on trip sales. Our target is the 68% of adults, 30 to 44, who go on vacation each year. Those who don't enjoy the bar scene or rec leagues. They want to meet people doing things they already like, where they already spend their time and money. With a $50,000 investment, Travel Blender can be cash flow positive in 16 months. We estimate 18-fold investor returns by year 5. We're Travel Blender. Make friends, go places.
So as you can see, that was a 1 minute presentation, a 1 minute pitch, and it did everything. It talked about what they are, what competitions they're going to really just go over it, that they don't do what they do, money they need, what's going to be expected with the money, when they're going to get the return, what it does, what is the product, everything in a very organized manner. So yeah, that's about it for today. I really want to give some time for the questions. We've been for the next 10 minutes, and yeah, I hope it was very good for you guys, and I'm open for the questions.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. It's been a really good presentation. Santiago, thank you for being so eloquent and for sharing with us all this really important information. I know that everyone from the finalists of the competition will be very excited to be using everything they have learned in this webinar. So let's go ahead and move on to the quick Q&A question section. I have a raised hand already, Saeed Badwan. Saeed, I'm going to unmute your microphone. Let's check if we can hear you. Saeed?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can. So go ahead.
Amazing. Santiago, thank you. It was an amazing presentation. I was wondering if you could be able to share it with us so we can see the videos once and over again in order to do better pitching ourselves.
Yeah, of course. The moderator can tell us. You're going to put the video out, right?
Sure, yeah. So this session has been recorded, and we will be uploading the recording on the YIBT Bootcamp platform, Saeed. So you will be able to access that either today or tomorrow. It's the recording of the session, and also if Santiago is okay with it, we can share a PDF version of the presentation so that you can review a little bit the concepts at your own pace.
Yeah, it's okay with me, and I will maybe in the PDF we won't be able to see the videos, but I'll send you the PDF, and I'll send you some links of some of the videos I really consider very impacted for pitch creation.
Excellent. So thank you so much for that. And Saeed, you can check the YBT Bootcamp platform, the website, and you will be able to see the recording and also a PDF of the presentation. Okay, so let's move ahead with other questions. Remember, guys, you can go ahead and type down your questions in the questions pane. Also, if you want to make your question like Saeed just did, you can also push the raised hand button, and I'll unmute your microphone. Okay, so we got the first question coming in from Fabiola Chacon. Fabiola asks you, Santiago, can you give us some tips on preparing two-person pitches, and if you recommend it?
Okay, well, two-person pitch, we don't use that here because it's basically what happens with the videos on the pitch. If you're doing it with two people, the sync or the synchronization around what you're presenting is going to be very difficult. sometimes the speed of the moment is relative to how you're feeling, and you don't feel how fast you're going, and you can really take some time off the partner and maybe just come cheap on the time. And second, it's for the audience. The audience is going to remember the person that's pitching, yeah, but it's going to remember the product and the company. The more people up there, the harder it's going for them to remember who is who and just overwhelming with information. So we don't recommend it, but you know, everything can be tried out, but I really don't recommend it. And here in Colombia, we don't use it because of that.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you for that. Let's move on to the next question. Remember, guys, you can type down your questions. You can push the raise hand button, and I'll mute your microphone. The next question is, so what happens if we do not know what we want from the person? Do we still do a pitch, or in this context, is better not to do a pitch?
Okay, yeah, I told it in the presentation. Sometimes you really don't focus on having equity growth or just wanted to get a commercial partner. You just want to do the pitch, and if you don't have it clear, you really gotta remember that the audience is gonna take something from you. It's gonna be remembered by something, and that something has to be your product or your company. So at least if you don't have it focused on investing or a commercial, you at least have to do it in a very marketing type of way for your company and for your product. So it's going to be very helpful just to put you out in the market, even if it's a startup company and it hasn't having any sales around. It would be even better for that.
Perfect. We have a question from Michael Husband, which I'm not sure if I understand, Michael. So if let me just make the question to Santiago and just type on the question panel if that is what you mean. So Michael is asking, how would all your recommendations, everything you have taught us, be modified to a 15-minute pitch? So a longer pitch. Does all the same thing apply, or is there something that changes if we're doing a longer pitch?
Well, thanks, Michael, for the question. That's a pretty interesting question because, well, I said before that pitches come in all sizes and in all types, you know. There's pitch from 30 seconds and pitch up to 5 minutes. 15-minute pitch, you really got to understand what audience you're attacking. Because if you're doing a pitch to a person outside, a salesperson, someone you're interested in, and you only have X time to adhere that person, you have to have the pitch for that situation. I also believe that humans, well, there's a study that showed that humans really just remember like 70% after 2 or 3 hours of what they saw, and the next 24 hours they have forgotten almost half of it. So the longer you do the pitch, the more information you're gonna get outside into the audience, and the less it's going to stay with them. So the pitch was really focused to just bring in a concise way all the information that you really need. As the video you saw before, this girl does it in 1 minute, and it's basically tells everything in 1 minute in a very concise way that you can practically remember the majority of it. So it depends on the audience, but it's very, very risky for the remembering, the memorable part, and well, the time, you know.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you for that answer. Okay, so we have a question from Emerline Carmen Louise. This is regarding the event, the finals in Cancun City. She's asking, she would like to know what time will be allowed for them to do their pitch at the finals. And Carmen, I can tell you that you will be doing the pitch in 2 separate occasions. The first occasion will be at a pitch competition that we're organizing during the event, and this will be a 5-minute pitch. So practice a 5-minute pitch. And the other occasion will you be doing the type of pitch is when you're in the private room with the panel of judges that will evaluate you. That will be also a 5-minute pitch, but it can also be done more of like a presentation rather than a pitch competition style pitch. So I hope that answers your question. Prepare for both types of pitches. Santiago, the next question if a person, and I think you touched on this a little bit while you were doing the presentation, but if an entrepreneur doesn't have a finished product yet, if he doesn't have the data to show some indicators and to prove that his service or product will be a success, what do you recommend that they should show from their experience as entrepreneurs because they don't have hard data yet? What should they do?
Okay, that's a very good question. Yeah, it's when you don't have a complete developed product, but you already have the opportunity to pitch. Let's say it's for equity growth. You gotta be concise and very believe the information you're gonna put outside. You at least have to have a projection. You at least have to have a market value. You at least have to adhere the problem, the opportunity, and the solution that you're going to bring, the value proposition you're going to bring it, and do it in a manner that it's like you already did it and you're so sure of it that when you bring it to the market, everyone in the pitch is going to understand that, well, yeah, it doesn't matter if it's not created, we're going to invest in that. I even have a story about it. We have an entrepreneur here. It's crazy how he just grabbed an idea on paper, he did a projection, and he raised equity all by himself. And the raising equity with the fund required a pitch. And we saw the pitch of him here, and he just really told the story in a way that we really thought he already had the company going on, and he hadn't even started around yet. So it's very important how passionate and how very statistical the information is, reliable, and that it's really focused on what you're going to really do. And remember, nothing about hoping, nothing about we expect, it's all about we're doing, okay?
Perfect, perfect. So before we move on to the last question, there was something I needed to make clear because Saeed is asking, he didn't understand the difference between both pitches at the finals in Cancun, which is going to be pitch style done by the panel of judges, and also are both considered to select the winner or just one with the judges. Okay, so Saeed, the two pitches are, and the first one is we're doing a pitch competition. The pitch competition is more of a informal gathering that we're going to do between the rest of the entrepreneurs that will be there. Remember, we're going to be in total like 50 entrepreneurs that are traveling from the 30 finalist teams. So we're a pretty big crowd, and in that sense, we want you guys to get a little bit of experience doing the pitch before you pitch to the judges. So that's why we're doing the pitch competition, so that you can practice that. It does count. It's not something that you should disregard, but definitely the most important one will be when you're in the evaluation room with the judges. It's going to be the judges and you, and that's the most important pitch. Regarding pitch style, it might be a little bit confusing when I talked about it, but we're talking about the same type of pitch, you know, a condensed way of selling your idea. And with that, we're going to go to the last question. Santiago, thank you so much. The last question is, do you recommend any website, any tool that entrepreneurs can use to put their pitch deck together?
Well, okay. What I recommend is, well, this presentation. Yeah, you can use that structure there. You know, that structure is really on point if you really focus on it. And just to analyze if you're doing the things correctly, there's a lot of YouTube videos around, a lot of different programs too, and a lot of real competitions like I show you there. Just watch a lot of those videos and understand why the entrepreneur is saying the things the way they're saying. Understand what was the scenario, where were they using the pitch, so that when you grab all these tools that we're giving you today, really start to structure it around the audience you're going to focus, and try to understand the other videos and what audiences they were attacking, so you can really get it on point.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Santiago, and also thank you everyone that joined us today for this great presentation. One more time, this presentation has been recorded and will be uploaded to the YBT Bootcamp website. So check that website for future webinars and also to check out the recordings. we'll try to upload as soon as possible the PDF of the presentation that Santiago just did as well. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Santiago, you have the final word. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Okay, now thank you for the invitation. Thank you, Said, Fabiola, Michael, and Carmen Luis for the questions. Thanks all everyone that assisted to this presentation. Please do contact me if you need any help with anything. That's my email down there. Oh, by the way, erase the apostrophe on top of the E. It's just a Spanish accent. It came out, but it's not on the. It's créame without the apostrophe. And yeah, I'm pretty open to helping you guys out. And just remember, believe in your product, do it passionately, and understand the audience you're attacking.
Thank you so much, Santiago. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
You guys too. Bye-bye.